Okay, and we are live. Okay. Good evening. Welcome to this session. Today we are getting to know Coach Kelvin Waga. He's going to take us through mental health awareness, and more specifically, given that June is Men's Mental Awareness Month. Coach Kelvin is a passionate business and career strategist. He's dedicated to helping individuals unlock their full potential. He has a proven track record of actually guiding people to achieve clarity, confidence, and tangible results. He empowers clients to overcome obstacles, make intentional choices, and build the life and career they truly deserve. He is also known for his relatable approach and actionable guidance. He actually does inspire transformation one step at a time. Given that this is a critical month, he'll take us through the topic of mental health awareness and just help us digest what that looks like, what it means, and what we could do around the same. Welcome, Coach Kelvin.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And just like you've mentioned, mental health is always key when it comes to men, because in most cases, men are the people who suffer more when it comes to mental health. We come from backgrounds where we are told to be strong, even when things are not okay. And in most cases, you realize that by the time we do realize that we need help, it's always too late to do that. So today I'm gonna give a brief presentation per se, but it's more of a talk and just what we need to talk about. So you realize that in pursuit of excellence and powerful personal brand, mental health always takes a front seat, not front seat but back seat, especially for men. And for this month, we are going to change the narrative because we need to speak of what is there. So, why is this important? This is important because many professionals are built impressive careers and polish personal brands. Especially when you go to a platform on LinkedIn, everyone else is living a perfect life, healthy life, and then you realize that if you are the person who is undergoing mental breakdown, it becomes very difficult for you to withstand that kind of pressure. So many men, especially, fall victims of the same, whereby they have to find themselves in a situation where they compromise. So you might be building that impressive brand, personal brand, and then impressive career, but you realize that inwardly you are struggling with stress, you're struggling with burnout, you're struggling with identity pressure. So the very traits we celebrate in leadership, you realize some of them can erode mental well-being. So we have relentlessness, drive. We have self-sufficiency. So, Men Mental Health Awareness Month is going to be deeper than resume rethink. What they look like. So, what we want to see on today's session is what is the link between professional identity and self-worth, and then build um, career that does not drain you, and then breaking the systems or the silence around men's mental health, and then finally we will finish with aligning your public brand with the private well-being. So once we explore these ones, it would be I'm assuming by the end of this session, men will have something to walk away with. So just give me a moment. I share my screen from this side. Mm,
Okay.
Can my screen be seen?
Yes. I can
Uh,
see it, but we can make it full screen. We can close all tools.
I'm trying to, yeah, here it is. Good. I'm assuming now we can see it perfect clear. So,
Yeah.
just like I was mentioning, these are some of the things that we really need to talk about. So, just like you had introduced me in the beginning, so technically I'm a personal branding coach, I'm a career coach, but also mental wellness. Because just like we were talking earlier, as I mentioned, that many men like hiding behind their masculinity when it becomes to that. So, uh, why do men get to struggle with mental health? Number one is what I refer to as the identity trap. So you realize that when your job title becomes your entirely identity, so your self-worth gets to be reduced in terms of performance, in terms of promotions and public perception. So this is the ideal trap. So it affects more professional than they acknowledge. So what are some of the signs of things that show that you're already in this place of work? Number one is your mood is distracted by work outcomes. So you have this particular boss you have in the office and you're doing your due diligence, you're doing your duties as it should be. So every time some task is added onto your desk or maybe there's a shift change, you will realize that you'll be distracted by the outcomes of that. Number two, you struggle to switch off after hours. There's this perception of I want to be perfect. What do I mean by this? You realize that you're workaholic. You get so workaholic until sometimes you carry work home and you want to keep on working. If, for instance, you're a man who is working on business development or sales, in most cases you realize that you'll carry work home. If a client reaches out to you at 12 midnight, you'd simply open your laptop and send a quote. So you're having a struggle when it comes to switching off after work. So when you're home, instead of enjoying with your family, you close yourself in the office, trying to trying to feel more of that. Then we have your LinkedIn bio feels more real than you do. LinkedIn is the only platform whereby you can give yourself any title that you want. I don't want to mention any title, but this is a platform whereby even if you oh, let me not mention titles, but you'll give yourself titles that would look impressive on paper. And I have seen this one where people are living large on this social media platform, but when you come in the background, you realize that your social media life ends the moment you get home. And then if you get to a point whereby uh, when you get criticized at work, criticism looks like personal failure. Every time someone criticizes you, you get into the panic mode, and then you have to be in a situation whereby you're second guessing yourself. So these are some of the uh, signs of the identity trap. So what is the way forward? Number one is you need to separate your role from identity. You are not your title. You are who you are. And as I do the coaching session for my job seekers, this is what I normally tell them. When it comes to the identity, it is not your job, it is not your role. This is who you are outside work. And one question I normally ask men: what if someone asks you who you are and they take academic out of the situation, they take out your academic, they take out your career? Who are you? You realize that most of us will struggle when it comes to answering that. Number two, if you're struggling with switching off, you need to invest in relationship beyond the office. And this relationship, this is your family. Get time with your family. Just learn to be contented with what you have, so that instead of carrying work home, be with your people, build networks, network with these people, have a conversation with these people. Because the more you do this, the easier it will be for you to detach yourself and detox from work. And when it comes to building a pitch perfect life on the social, you need to build an internal compass. And what do I mean by this? Be contented with who you are. not just the external brand, because people might perceive you to be. So I'm not saying it's good to dream it until you live it. I don't want to say fake it until you make it, but I don't want to discourage people from dream it until you believe it. But do it to an extent whereby if your friends were to visit you today, you won't lie to them that you are not around, or maybe you won't give excuses as to why they should. Or whenever you get yourself into a meeting, you want to get into the extra mile of hiring the V8, because this is the kind of life that you have. So it's very important that you bring in that background, that you bring in that background in your career. Then we have criticism at work where it feels like personal failure. So in this practice value driven decision making, learn to accept corrections whenever they are raised. That is number one. Number two, you should learn to make an informed decision whereby be pragmatic, be practical with your work, so that whenever you're corrected, you don't feel like your job is threatened, your identity is threatened, and all that kind of stuff. And I've seen so many men go through this kind of traps. So uh, ambition is very powerful, and if you have ambition without boundaries, it normally leads to burnout. So, true career growth is not about running faster, it is running smarter and longer. So, sustainable success means building a career that energizes you rather than the one that depletes you. And how can you have a successful or a sustainable success? Number one, define what enough look like. So, you need to set intentional milestones that align with your values, not just the industry benchmark. Number two, protect your recovery time. So rest is not laziness, it's the foundation of high performing and mental clarity. I've seen people who are workaholic whereby they are saying there's no sleep for the wicked, or there's no sleep for the lazy people. So you realize that they leave work, when they get home, they get to work, or they just trying to uh, be pitch perfect. So it's important that when you are doing all this, you need to protect your recovery time. Then finally, you need to align your career with purpose. So when your work connects to a deeper why, resilience and fulfillment follows naturally. What do I mean by this? So many of us, we are doing the jobs that we don't like, or we're in jobs, toxic work that we don't want. But because of paying the bills, you realize that we have to consistently show up for this to happen. And how does this get to affect our output? It gets to affect our output because you go, let's take for example, I'm an accountant. I don't love accounting, or I don't love my boss, or I don't love an organization. But at the end of it all, bills have to be paid. So what do I have to do? I have to show up into that work. In every work that you do, even if it doesn't align with your interest, learn to find your why. The moment you find your why, give it, like, find a way. Even in that toxic job, what is your why? And that would give your career alignment. So how do you break the silence? You realize that for too long, the message to men in the workplace, or even at home or anywhere, is stay strong, push through, don't show weakness. But silence around mental health doesn't make men stronger. It makes the struggle invisible and most dangerous. So, why are men silent? Men are silent because of cultural conditioning, or fear of judgment, or and believe that vulnerability undermines credibility. So, the moment you show your vulnerable self, you realize that you're still trying to push whatever you have. Anecdotally, what do I equate this for? Assume you have a wound either on your toe or on your knee, and instead of treating the wound, you keep on putting maybe the elastoplast, those things that you use to cover the wound. So outwardly it will look like it's healing, but inwardly it will be rotting, and you'll be feeling that pain. By the time you realize that for you to be healed, you either have to lose your leg, or you have to lose that piece of the body, because
Yeah.
you have mastered the art of just staying silent and just being there. So learn to address the stress, manifest address stress manifest as physical illness, strained relationship, disengagement at work, and in the more severe cases, crisis. If you've been watching news lately, there are people killing themselves. There are people killing their people because the work output has become so much to an extent that some men go through this and they think that by killing their children, that is going to solve their problem or that. So if we learn to break the silence, then the power of speaking up, because naming your experience is not an act of leadership. When naming your experience is an act of leadership, because when men in position of influence talk openly about mental health, they give others permission to do so. And for the followers who've been following me on LinkedIn, sometimes I just share my story, like how
Yeah.
I tried committing suicide, things that I've gone through, some of them embarrassing. And some people tell me, oh, this will kill your brand. That is me. And the more I talk about this, you realize that so many other guys will find the possibility of doing the same. So, the public brand versus the private self. This is a phenomenon that I created for this, whereby you need to ensure that these particular things, that is you, every profession, like every profession, curates a public image. The polished LinkedIn, the confidence, they have got together the narrative, and then have got together narrative. But behind every brand is a human being navigating real pressure. So, for instance, you might find that on LinkedIn you have a very polished image, but inner peace, this thing is costing you your peace. So, you need to find a balance whereby you get into a place of mindfulness, like you just having a balance so that you don't get influenced into what you want people to see. Number two, when you talk of your achievements, I've seen men when the stories get sweet, they have how big houses, they have cars, they're living in suburb areas. But now when
Yeah.
your friends wants to come and visit you at home, you start creating excuses or even in your house because you don't want
Yeah.
people to see the kind. So just learn to be and give the authentic relationship and deep connection. Then thought leadership, you need to share insights that build influence. So the more you share leadership influence, like the more you share leadership, the thoughtful leadership, you realize that people will be seeing you as who you are, and then it will give you the personal value, like live with a purpose.
Yeah.
Confidence narrative, you need to have clear and consistent and aspirational. So when it comes to the person you are, don't lie to people that you are a CEO of an organization, or maybe you are you have big cars, you live in the suburb areas, because this one will not protect you from the vulnerability. So be honest, be real, and be open when it comes to that, because the goal is not to erase the brand, it is to close the gap so that between you who you present publicly and
Yeah.
who you are privately, we realize that authenticity is not weakness, it is a competitive advantage that most of us do overlook. So, typically, who is this session for? So, this session, when you reached out to me, um,
Mm.
I saw three people. Number one is the ambitious professional, so driven, goal oriented, but being this person who really wants to achieve, but still caught
Yeah.
in between myself and the reality. Number two, the leader and the manager who is responsible for others, so performance and well being, yet rarely given space to address own mental needs. Uh, and I've seen this one in my coaching session with these people, whereby so many guys they just want to play perfect in front of their team. But whenever their chance is given, whereby they have to showcase what they have, you realize that most of them get to toil. So they smile the whole day in the office. So when they get home, the people who receive the heat are the family
Yeah.
members, either the spouse or the children.
Mm.
Then the third person is the career pivoter. Career pivoter, these are people who want to transition from one employment to entrepreneurship or from one career to another. So exploring a new direction and navigating the identity uncertainty that comes with reinventing and change. Because sometimes you work in a very toxic work environment and then you want to break in away from that norm. So what does that mean? You will lose the identity that people know and you will get to something that people don't know. So if for once you can walk away with something in this session, so number one is clarity on your identity, a clearer understanding of who you are beyond your job title and how to build from that foundation. Learn learn to find who you are. And who you are, this is why I tell people don't over attach yourself to your title or to the job that you do, because whenever that is stripped away from you, you will feel naked in the public and it might give you these mental health issues. So burnout prevention tools, so we have actionable strategies to protect your energies, just like the ones we've talked about. We have
Mhm.
sustaining high performance. You have setting boundaries just to ensure that you are not alone. Then we have language to break silence. So when we talk about language to break silence is practical ways that you need just to talk to people in professional spaces without fear of judgment. Then finally, we have authentic brand alignment. So how to close the gap between your public professional image and how to close that particular gap between your professional image and the person that you are. So for any man who has listened to me yapping for the past 30 minutes or so, this is something that I can tell you is don't align your identity with your title. But two, being silent does not mean that you're weak. You don't have to live a fake life, or you don't have to be strong. You don't have to man up for you to overcome this. It is very important for you to speak out. It's very important for you to share. And in this particular place, try to learn from people who have been ahead of you in terms of how have they gone about it, how have they done it, and all that kind of stuff. Because if we don't speak about mental health, we will translate this into numbers. And when you talk about numbers, these are not good numbers. Men who have died, men who have committed suicide, men who have killed people, which is not something nice. So when men are pushed, they get to make decisions that are not in line with their identity. So if you're really following up on this and you really want to be that kind of a person, sometimes I offer safe spaces where people can talk to me. We just have a conversation and see how it is. So back to you, Mikaeli. Maybe you can
Oh, okay.
take us through. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for that insightful view and session, Coach. And I like what you've said. They can always reach out and have a session with you. I think we'll share your email within the YouTube video itself. Tell me, there's a lot of pressure on men to be providers, and I feel that's placing a lot on them. How is this impacting their psychological well-being?
We are living in the 21st century or so.
Yeah.
We need to set our priorities straight. And when it comes to setting our priorities straight, what I
Mm.
mean by this is let us come together. If you are a man and you have a spouse, find how you can complement each other in the house, not
Yeah.
being the sole bearer of anything. And the moment you become, because one thing is we overpromise when we are seducing or when we are dating women. So by the time
Yeah.
they come in, they find that whatever was ordered versus whatever has been received, there's a very huge disparity on the same. So set your
Mm.
priorities straight, be honest, and
Yeah.
speak your mind. But above all, be practical and be determined. Yes.
Okay. I think you've brought in another aspect or angle that I was thinking around. Are we going to get to a place where we are seeing men empowerment, male children empowerment sessions and such like? Are we going to get there? Do you think we'll get there?
Yes. There are many organizations and individuals who are out to support men. And if we leaders, influencers, and people of position start speaking out, others will
Yeah.
follow suit and see whatever they are going through is just a relieved moment of something that some other people have gone through and they've managed to overcome.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like that you've talked about, when we talk about the identity trap, you've talked about also the bit on ambition is actually priceless and we need to run smarter. But are we seeing, I'm sure in the last few weeks, we've all been looking at Elon Musk. What does this guy do? The reports of this guy doesn't sleep. Is work-life balance really there? Does it exist?
Yes, it exists. The only problem that comes in is how to get that balance. Because
Mm-hmm.
you realize that if you're a poor man,
Yeah.
and okay, if you're brokey, let me call it brokey because you realize that most brokies being there, smiling, being are always available for your family will not
Yeah.
pay bills. At some point, your woman will have to run, your man will have to run. So finding that balance is very important. As you go out to look, don't neglect your family, but also
Yeah.
don't overwork, whereby you make work so much important at the expense of your
Yeah.
own family. So don't be a brokey because love without money, that is disaster. Too much work without love is also a disaster. That is in something that Gen Z says, if you disappear so much, there
Yeah.
is something yenye utafanyiwa, utagongewa. And if ukigongewa, what will come in is you'll get more
Yeah.
stress and it might cause repercussions.
Oh my, oh my. Okay. Uh, ability to repivot. I feel like that bit really touched, what do we call it? I was having conversations today around, it was an instance of this lady was able to repivot her career. Of course, it's easier when you're a bit younger and you're just starting off your career. So let's say you've studied your BCom, you've done your CPAs, oh, you're in banking, that type of culture. Then you move out of that and you move into IT consulting. Totally unrelated field, a space where they do not have the know-how of how things work, but they actually embraced it and moved with it, did their certifications. And we're seeing a lot of change. We're seeing people who started off as even accountants and they're now running or they're now pilots. So people are really learning the art of repivoting, and I think it's quite important. You talked about this session is really key for the career pivoter because it if anyone has an ability to repivot themselves, then no one has control over their lives or over what they have to do. So I think that was really powerful from what you mentioned. In terms of mentorship and handholding and relationship building around the spaces where men are in, do you feel this is something that is already there, or is there a need for more to be done around this space?
Yes, there's more to be done. And we men also, we have to accept help. And
Yeah,
accepting help does not mean carrying a placard narrating your problems,
yeah,
but just trying to follow people, try to reach out. It's, and I know this might be counterintuitive or
yeah,
maybe contradictory. If you
yeah,
get a stranger who you can share your problems with, it's easier than sharing your problems with someone who already knows you. I might be
yeah,
pretending to be listening, but I'm just looking for the next minute so that I can gossip about what everything that you told me.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's the space is there, and if we accept the situation and the first the first instance of solving a problem is accepting the fact that there is a problem. After that, you realize the more you are the fact that you've accepted you have a problem, help will
yeah.
always come out. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, and I love the fact that I feel like men easily connect. with people who are not necessarily their friends. So it's easier for them to use that power and be able to open up. Now, for the rest of us, we are looking at this and we're wondering, how do we support the men in our lives, the spouses, the husbands, the brothers? How can we show up as their friends, as their family, as their wives and all that? How do we support them without making them feel there's a weakness in them, there's a problem with them? And case in point, I think just recently there's a gentleman who I think the way you've just spoken to it, he killed the wife and the two kids, and it was related to a story around the brother. The brother had died in an accident, and he was being blamed for that. So how do we uh, be there? How do we support our men without really making them feel there's something wrong with them? Yeah.
Number one, I'll talk of the spouse and then I'll talk of the family members because
Yeah.
these these the people who cause that kind of stress, especially in men. So number one is let us not compare. If your friend is not doing, is your friend has been bought for a car, you don't know how the car came by. If your
Yeah.
friend moved to suburban areas, you don't know how they got there. Let us
Yeah.
stop giving people pressure so that I want my kids to study in this school. I want this, I want that. My friend did that, my other friend did that. If we can learn to just be us in a way that we be contented, and it's good for spouses and even spouses or couples to have a conversation what is realistic, their goals, and how they can reach there together. And when it comes to a family, I know in every family there's always a black sheep, someone who um, has to receive it because they are unlucky in life. So if we look down upon, because most families will favor those with money, so the moment your money goes away, you become the
Yeah.
black sheep of the family. Let us learn to support our own. Having value or attaching value
Oh,
value to the person, your sibling or your son or your sister, will
yeah.
is what causes the mental health. So let us learn to support, and for spouses, open conversation, being realistic in the goals, and participating in achieving those goals.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay. I think you really broken this topic down to practical elements, and that's really value to the Assurance Africa community. I think for me, it's to thank you for making time for this session. I know we'll have so many more of this where we just talk of different things and different aspects of society, and probably you should even tell us how to brand, especially for men. I know I have a friend who was he does this, when we're doing the tax. Right now there's so much around the finance bill, so he goes for talk shows and he was asking, as a man, how does he brand himself? So does he do men do makeup? Is it only about the suits? So maybe we can talk about that in future. Yes, I think I'll allow you to give parting shots, then we close.
I was once a victim of the earthly pressures,
Yeah.
and I learned to be contented. I learned to speak up. I know there might be someone who is hitting rock bottom or already there and
Yeah.
wondering how do I get myself in this situation. Number one, no one is coming to save you, so you have to accept the fact that you are only there for you, and then you reach out to people. Keep on trying. One thing that um, promoted me, or one thing that made me the person who I am today, I
Yeah.
learned to just do it one more time, one more time, one more time, until one more time has made me run three companies and impacted over thousands and thousands of people across the globe with what I do. So no man is limited. And
Yeah.
I would really want, if you watch this and you just want to have a conversation with me, you can reach out on my platforms, Coach Kelvin Waga. I'm very proactive and I'm a very good storyteller. So I don't leave a pitch perfect on my profiles, but I try to tell the stories as they are because that is
Yeah.
who I am. So thank you so much for the invite. It has been a pleasure. And I can say that we need to have this conversation more and
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
Yeah. Really do. Really do.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I think let's call it an evening. Let's enjoy ourselves. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.